are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Fresh Fit Podcast, man. We got a special one for you guys. We got a special guest in the house, Ryan Dawson. Let's get into it. The boys.
Yes.
All right, we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Fresh Fit Podcast, man. Quick announce before we get into the show, man. We already got over 1,000 you guys in here, so on YouTube alone. Check us out, rumble.com/freshfit. We're going to definitely have to go to Rumble on this broadcast. But also check us out on freshfit.locals.com. Check us out also on Megaphone. Make sure you wear headphones, especially for this episode. Make sure you wear headphones. You're not in the workplace because we're going to be dropping a lot of facts on this one. Get the merch, freshfitpodcaststore.com. I got my Chris the Bum shirt on right now.
They just came in.
Yeah, just came in. Yeah, man, because you came in late, bro. That's why we started late.
Fresh off the press.
Chris is a bum shirt live right now, guys. Go get it. And then also check out our Clips channel, Fresh to Fit Clips, guys. As you guys know, we post the best parts of the show over there on the Clips channel. And then also we got another one called More Fresh to Fit Clips, Fresh's Vlog.
Yep. And the CN Network, guys. We just launched May 1st. It's going crazy, man. Multiple guests a day and during the week. Awesome Zoom calls. A lot of value. Hop in there.
And check me out, guys, on Fed 1811. As you guys know, I do criminal cases over there. Criminal cases. The last one I did was the DC Snipers, and I'm going to be covering the Bonanno crime family with Donnie Brasco. And then actually at the end of the Mafia series, I'm going to bring Ryan Dawson on. We're going to talk about the Mafia and their links to intelligence. Okay, that's going to be a very special episode for you guys.
Forget about it.
Yeah, absolutely forget about it, bro.
Forget about it.
So we're going to be talking about that. But yeah, other than that, man, we got a special guest in the house. Ryan, me and you have been talking for quite a bit. You are a wealth of knowledge, a damn near an encyclopedia. It's hard for me to keep up sometimes with all the information that you have, but I know who you are, but a lot of people might not know who you are. A lot of people owe you a goddamn check for stealing your information and plagiarizing, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
Can you talk to the people real quick, man?
I will. And by the way, I got to compliment you on your Chris is a Bum t-shirt. That's some live action trolling. I got one too, but we'll save this for Rumble.
For Rumble.
Yeah. I scared you, didn't I? Yeah, I've been a geopolitical analyst for 23 years, I believe. And yeah, I'm mostly well known for research into September 11th, the adult version, not the kook stuff that's all over the internet.
Which we're going to cover on Friday.
Yep. And we've covered all the wars. And I'm kind of like sketched out about saying my bio because this is YouTube. And I basically talk about all the things you're not allowed to talk about. So I'll explain who I am better when we kick it over to Rumble. Because I don't want to make you lose a channel with 1.5 million subs.
Yeah. So, I mean, my thing is, obviously you got a bunch of fantastic information. I think that the thing also that we need to talk about is how a lot of people consider themselves like conspiracy theorists or whatever. And, they don't really have anything to back up their claims. They're not out here doing FOIAs. They're not out here doing real research. They're not out here pulling declassified CIA documents, FBI documents, etc. And that's something that you do. And I've noticed that a lot of people take your talking points and they don't really give credit, because you've been banned off everywhere. So they're able to kind of sit there and take all the credit. But that's one thing I really admire about your work. And
part of it's that so that they can grift. Some of it's fear. Like they'd like to reference me, but they're scared if they say my name, then they'll get banned as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like, man, put my initials in or something. Say, and this comes from someone, just tell the truth, but it is what it is.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I'll hit these chats real quick and then we'll get into the topic at hand because we're going to be talking about Jeffrey Epst3in and there's quite a bit to cover here. So we got here Saul Goodman, Free Palestine. All right. Shout out to you. W. Ryan Dawson, Truth Speaker. Them boys Cha-ching. I plead the fifth. Okay. I appreciate that, my friend. And then Cougar Slayer goes, it's been a pleasure. Guess it's just Rumble from now on, LMAO. And then Myers started to go for the free promo. And then Big Boss, that's from Chris is a Bum. Appreciate that. And then various layers, bossing. Shout out Fresh Meyer, join the CEO network. Don't miss out. Have a great day, sirs. I appreciate that, my friend. And then Myron's hairline, Womanizer Wednesday. Let's go. Yep. This is going to be Epst3in Wednesday. And then, hey, Myron, I discovered that Penguin once spoke to the CEO of YouTube. Maybe at the end of debate, you can maybe convince him to set up a meeting between you two, the new one, of course. Y'all might even get Tane Sneako's platform back. Take to heart. Next to Mr. Gruber. I appreciate that, my friend. And then Mr. McNair.
Yeah, get mine back, too.
Ask him how's the war in Ukraine going right now. We will don't worry, we'll do an episode on Ukraine as well, guys. You know, we've talked about that pretty quite a bit, especially with Ghazal Lira. But so today's topic, guys, is going to be Jeffrey Epst3in. So real quick, I'm going to pull him up for you guys on Wikipedia, just to show you guys who he is, etc. Here he is, Jeffrey Edward Epst3in, January 20th, 1953, died on August 10, 2019, was an American sex offender and financier. Epst3in, who was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York City, with his brother Mark, began his professional life by teaching at the Dalton School in Manhattan, despite lacking a college degree. After his dismissal from the school, he entered the banking and finance sector, working at Bear Stearns in various roles, starting his own firm. Epst3in developed an elite social circle and procured many women and children whom he and his associates sexually abused. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. And then let's go over to Ghislaine Maxwell, the next one. Now, this was his girl, guys. Ghislaine Noel Marion Maxwell. Born December 25th, 1961, is a British convicted sex offender and former socialite. In 2021, she was found guilty of child sex trafficking and other offenses in connection with the deceased financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epst3in. In June 2022, she was sentenced in New York court to 20 years imprisonment. And if you guys want to know more about like their sex case from like the official perspective with the West Palm Beach case, I did a whole episode on both of them on Fedit, so go ahead and check it out. But we're going to talk more about their conspiracy with all the connections that they had. So next, so as you guys know, a couple of days ago, right, this article came out from the Wall Street Journal, that link right there. And it shows Epst3in, and they've revealed a couple of the people that were in his calendar. Okay, and you guys can see here pictured from when we can go ahead and scroll down a little bit. Clockwise from right to left, you got Jeffrey Epst3in center, and clockwise from top right, Ariane Rothschild, William Burns, Joshua Copper Ramo, Noam Chomsky, right? Did I pronounce it correctly?
Noam Chomsky and Joshua Cooper,
yeah. Catherine Rumler and Leon Botstein. And can you tell us a little bit about these people, Ryan? Because you probably know them a lot better than I do.
Missed a couple bells in there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I guess the most prominent name, although he's probably the least influential, would be Noam Chomsky. He's a linguist at MIT, but he's been a prolific writer. And it's odd because in 20, 30 years ago, Noam used to be very pro-Palestine and would speak a lot about the plight of the third world. And a lot of people love him, especially on the left, but and on the right. He did Manufacturing Consent, although he was a co-host of that book. But suddenly, he just started to do a 180, saying Assad must go, supported the war in Syria. He's against the BDS movement, which is boycott, divest, and sanctions on Israel. And now we find out that Epst3in had set up meetings between him and Ehud Barak, who's also an Epst3in client and the former prime minister of Israel. Like, why is Noam Chomsky meeting with Ehud Barak at all, or Jeffrey Epst3in? And, he's going to MIT with his little cohort of young women. But we know that a lot of people at MIT were actually on Epstein's list. And he even forced Bill Gates to donate millions of dollars on his behalf because it looked bad to take the donations from a sex offender. So he was really, we call it flexing his nuts, getting Bill Gates, who used to be the richest man in the world, to donate on his behalf. And of course, Bill Gates was dumb enough to even write about having dinner and staying late in the night on Epstein properties where he met a beautiful young woman and her daughter, which is referring to Ava Dubin and her 16-year-old child, who Ava was a former ex-girlfriend of Jeffrey Epst3in, and her husband we'll talk about later when we get to his baseball card. Myron and I have put out like the kind of top 10 because we can't go over. There's 167 names, but we put a little presentation together in his top 10 cohorts. So we'll be getting to Glenn Dubin later too. But yeah, Noam Chomsky he's had a really great reputation, and this is just going to do him in. I think he's like 94 years old. Maybe it doesn't matter to him, but it's going to wreck his legacy that people have now found out that he was meeting with Epstein and taking arranged meetings with an absolute monster like Ehud Barak.
Gotcha. And then can you give us a quick little summary on the other 5 there that are on that? Pull that picture up back, Chris. The other 5 there.
Well, the most prominent name power-wise now is William Burns. That would be in the middle right.
Yeah.
You can see him with the white hair. That's the CIA director.
Yep.
But at the time he was he's working in the Secretary of State. Yeah.
Or State. Okay.
Yep. But that's not nothing either. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And that this guy gets picked by the Biden regime should say something as well. But secretaries of state, governors, senators, presidents, prime ministers, they all met with Jeffrey Epstein. He knew Tony Blair, he knew Bill Clinton, he knew Ehud Olmert as well as Ehud Barak, Moshe Katsav. And so you're talking about the leaders of the United Kingdom, the United States, the foreign country A. I can't say on YouTube the one, who it is.
Foreign country A.
Yeah, yeah. Right. So, a secretary of state's not a big deal, or an undersecretary is not a big deal. But he also knew James Woolsey, the former DCI of the CIA. So, these are the kind of circles he would float around in. So Jeffrey Epstein wasn't some billionaire pervert that got busted with little kids. This was an intelligence operation. And the people around him, I mean, the Maxwell family, Glenn Maxwell, was his... Everything they did together. I mean, she was his madame, but it's hard to know who was the dog and who was the tail in that relationship, because she seemed to have more contacts than he did, at least initially, because of her family. Mm-hmm. Her father was a Israel. Almost said he was a real asset for a certain country. He was an informant for that place.
Pull up the pictures real quick in the back, Chris. Yeah. Okay. So tap through. So we're going to go through some of the people on the list right now. Keep going through just so you guys kind of know who he's talking about here. All right. So no, back one. There we go. So you got Ghislaine Maxwell. That was his girlfriend. And then you have the father. So
Robert Maxwell. So Robert Maxwell was a whistleblower.
Plus, enlarge it.
He ran a newspaper in the United Kingdom, but I can say this, I believe this is safe to say. So he helped foreign country A capture Mordecai Vanunu, who was the whistleblower about foreign countries A's secret nuclear weapons program, which they acquired by physically stealing uranium from the United States. And so it's just like they are with Assange or Edward Snowden or any of the whistleblowers. They get mad at the people that tell on the criminals instead of the criminals, right? Yeah. So Mordecai Vanunu got honey trapped, kidnapped in Italy and taken to be put in prison in the country we're not allowed to say. Yeah, exactly. Our greatest ally, let's just say that, somewhere between the West Bank and Gaza, that place. So he's an asset. I mean, it says right there, secret Mossad asset on the screen, so you can say that revealed Mordecai Vanunu whistleblower.
And just so people know a little bit more, like he took 55 pictures proving that, them boys had some nuclear weapons, and the only people that had the capability to have that level of nuclear weapons at the time was the United States. So
he took pictures of the warheads to show how many they had made, but as far as how they acquired the highly enriched uranium to build those, I have a movie about that called NUMEC.
Yes.
How foreign country A stole the bomb and killed JFK. And, RFK had actually gone, he sent people like John Hayden, Richard Helms, and others. They went and tested the flora and fauna around Dimona, found 97% enriched uranium, which only existed for the Nautilus program for nuclear submarines from the United States. And they got caught. They're still not, they haven't signed on to the non-proliferation treaty for nuclear weapons to this day. So you have all these countries we know have nukes. We know they're one of them, but they will not sign on to the non-proliferation treaty. They're not subject to inspections like everyone else is. And they'd actually tried to sell those to South Africa, who didn't do it because of the price tag was the only reason. But, it makes you wonder with this network with AQ Khan and Pakistan getting the bomb, like how much of this black market stuff went all around there. This would be a can of worms if I get into all that. So I'll just stop with the nuclear stuff. But, very prominent, important person to tell on Mordecai Vanunu really upped his status with dim boys, and his daughters, Glenn Maxwell's got sisters. They're very intelligent. The NSO software, the Pegasus, which came out of a copy of what was stolen from the Pentagon. So it's a family of spies, and they're related. There's some property receipts with Elizabeth Johnson from Johnson & Johnson that made the one of the mRNA therapies for the Mexican beer that went around, if you know what I'm saying. And so, yeah, they got a thumb in a lot of pies.
Yeah. So going back to Ghislaine Maxwell to summarize for the audience real quick, pull up that thing real fast, Chris.
Yeah, sure.
I'll just summarize it for y'all because Ghislaine Maxwell, as you guys know, is Epstein's girlfriend. Her father ran a newspaper company that outed a whistleblower that exposed that country had nuclear weapons, okay? And the only way they could have procured those nuclear weapons at that specific time, this is back in like the 40s, 50s, was through stealing technology from the United States at the time, because the way they had nuclear weapons was very specific to American technology at that time. Her father was involved in exposing that whistleblower that did that. Okay, guys? So that's the summary with Maxwell. And then also I want to say this too, Ryan. So from our conversation before, so Ghislaine was the one that had all the contacts, not necessarily Epstein, correct?
Yeah, she brought him into a pre-existing network, and he threw his hat in the ring at several failed businesses working for dim boys.
Yeah.
But they found their niche in this child, we'll just say abuse, because this is YouTube. Everybody knows what they did. So yeah, that was their thing. But I mean, he was also a pretty prevalent white collar criminal on top of that. And that kind of gets lost in the story because I guess the sensationalism of the kitty fiddling portion takes up more oxygen out of the room. And it is I mean, I understand why people are concerned about that, but he also swindled tens of millions of dollars from investors out of Bear Stearns, out of Tower Financial, and he was like the Black Plague, the reverse Midas touch. Everything he got involved with, other people got in trouble, went to jail, but he never did, right? Like he would always get away with whatever plan he was doing. Like Steve Hoffenberg got thrown in jail, but Epstein was the center of the Ponzi scheme they were doing with Pan Air. And he always seemed to squeeze his way out. And also, even the first time he got caught with underage ladies, we'll say little girls, 14, 13 years old, he got a sweetheart deal and was on work leave 6 days a week, where he would continue to work in Palm Springs, and only go to jail on Sunday, spend the night there, and then go back to work. And he was out of prison. Who gets a deal like that?
Yeah.
He'd been bribing the police department in Florida through something called Gratitude America, a science foundation, excuse me. He had a whole bunch of LLCs. I get him confused, but he had this science foundation that had nothing to do with science. It was just giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to the police department to give him tips anytime his property was searched or anything. And we know this from his bodyguards and chefs and butlers and all that would say, that we'd get a call and we'd, remove this and that, and get the girls out before the cops would come and visit.
Yeah.
So, he had a nice network.
Yeah. And I don't think, because I covered this when I did Epstein with Fedit. Yeah, he had a lot of money. He was paying people off, etc. I mean, when he did his jail time, he barely even went to jail. And just so you guys know, down here in the Southern District of Florida at the time, the U.S. Attorney Acosta declined to prosecute him. And the reason why, and this is all public information now, he said that he was a part of Israeli intelligence, which we'll talk about that a little bit more on Rumble. But Ryan, let me ask you this then. Can you tell us?
No, he said I was told to back off. He's part of intelligence.
There you go.
But it doesn't take a genius to know which intelligence. It wasn't the Chinese. It wasn't Iran. Like, you look at his circle. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Eric Weinstein pointed it out. He basically hinted his two favorite countries, right? Like the U.S. and the other one.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then. So we talked about Epstein, because a lot of people talk about Epstein and the trafficking stuff, but not a lot of people talk about the financial stuff and his financial crimes, because he had done. Can you tell us a little bit about, because you talked about it a little bit with the Chicago thing and his Ponzi scheme. Can you tell us a little bit about how he got into the whole trafficking thing and how he was a financial criminal first? Because people kind of gloss.
Well, yeah. So he got brought into Bear Stearns by Ace Greenberg, who's is also got he had to do a $2 million payoff for sexual harassment at Bear Stearns himself, right?
Yeah.
His children went to the high school where Epst3in taught math. And so I'll leave the kids out of it, but because they were high school students, but Epst3in knew them, and that's how he met Ace Greenberg. And so you have this guy who flunked out of college or dropped out of college, who's teaching math at a high school, gets to work at Bear Stearns, and he got introduced to every nook and cranny, every kind of position at Bear Stearns. He was privy to see the entire operations. But when Ace Greenberg's got to pay off basically $2 million for his own sexual harassment, you can understand why he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. But
yeah,
he did a lot of Ponzi schemes there too. One of the things they did in the Caribbean was not that clever, really, but it's a common Ponzi scheme where they would move toxic assets to a subsidiary so that the rating agencies could come look and they wouldn't be in the red because they'd, sold them all to someone else who would take a huge loss, and then they would buy them back again at the first of the month. And he created this little outfit. They had Bear Stearns Ireland, which has less regulations, and then he created something called Liquid Funding Limited, which was where they would dump all these bad assets temporarily and then buy them back again. And it was a little bit more complex than I just sort of oversimplified, but it wasn't some genius idea. I mean, that's common mafia stuff, cooking 2 books, but the important part of it is he would get away with it, right? He would do something that easy to figure out, and it didn't matter because a lot of these rating agencies, he had also compromised. You saw this in the mortgage-backed security fraud where they're emailing each other and bragging about the piece of S they sold to so-and-so. And of course, the collateralized debt obligations that they would do. And they did that whole subprime mortgage scam was not because of incompetence. That was intentional. It's a way of getting property that has intrinsic value by doing predatory loans to people can't pay it back. So whatever they buy, you end up with because they can't pay the loan, and then you get the properties, right? But then they couldn't liquidate them fast enough, and we get in a housing bubble. And of course, they all got bailed out, too big to fail, which involved the New York Federal Reserve as well as the major Federal Reserve. And I have this all mapped out, actually, of the amounts and figures they did, because this dovetails with the Bronfman family. Just let me explain. Jeffrey Epstein had a sponsorship. We call it the Mega.
Baseball cards, Ryan. If you want me to pull up any of the baseball cards, let me know. But go ahead, continue.
All right. Well, I'll get to that in a second. Well, you can throw up the Bronfmans. I can talk about them.
Chris, they're on the list. Can you? Yeah, go ahead. List them up real fast. Scroll through, please. There you go. Bam. That's them. Go ahead.
Yep. So they had this thing called Maiden Lane LLC, which was and there, of course, there's JP Morgan Chase. We're going to talk about them later, and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, not the Fed from DC, but in New York.
Let's kill everything except for YouTube and Rumble for now. Let's get off Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. Continue on, Ryan. I'm sorry, please.
Okay. So they had a number of fronts. They were trying to do a corporate takeover of St. James Mineral Corp. And so they had 3 different outfits out of Panama. It doesn't matter. Transatlantic Financial Company, SA, Naira Investments, and something called Finvest Panama. It was just a complex way of moving money around. Mm-hmm. This guy, Joseph Bitome, actually, who's an Italian financier, he got busted for insider trading. Everyone around him goes down except for Epstein, right? Mm-hmm. But they pumped in $1.2 billion from the to Bear Stearns through Maiden Lane and the Federal Reserve. And it's just, he is just moving toxic assets around. And so you had the JP Morgan money market funds, Frank Russell Investment, and Dreyfus Money Market. And that none of this should have been commercial paper. None of this should have been approved. But it was, and they're swindling billions of dollars that they're getting through bailouts, because these people, often you look at a lot of these Wall Street tycoons and things, they're not genius. They're not good with money at all. They're constantly losing billions of dollars. Look at FTX recently, $32 billion in the hole. Janet Yellen and Sam Bankman fraud, as I like to call them. And all these people get to come to these meetings in New York and lecture people about finance when all they've ever done is lose billions of dollars. Zelensky was another one. I mean, he lost a third of the country. But yeah, they're not good with money. They're good at getting the government to bail them out when they screw up. So it's like, if you win, you win. If you lose, you still win. And Epstein's in the middle of it. But every time, whatever he was involved with financially or otherwise, they left him alone. But he had a lot of important people compromised because they videotaped every room all the time, according to the girls that live with him against their will. They had a camera in every nook and cranny and all of his properties. So anybody that was doing it at his house, which would include people like the Dubins and Leon Black, were there. Now the Bronfman family are notorious. They're part of this backbone of finance. So his main financier was Les Wexner, but
pull up the chart.
This mega group, we call it the donor group, the donor class.
Okay.
They're an outgrowth of the Sonborn Institute, which is who helped steal nuclear weapons from the United States.
And then we should show them. We'll show them Lex right now, because Lex was Epstein's main backer, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's a billionaire. He owned Victoria's Secret in LL Brands, and so he's very important as far as being able to get the prime real estate as far as women go, which gives you leverage. I mean, Punani is power, right? And so they would go fishing at these parties and things. Glenn Maxwell has this Ocean Terramar Save the Planet type organization, so she could go to the UN and rub elbows with the most important, powerful people in the world, and get invited to these cocktail parties. They bring in the models and they start fishing off, rich drunk guys and try and get them compromised. But the Bronfman family was prominent with Wexner in this mega group. So you have Charles Bronfman from the Seagram's fortune, who was the president of the World Congress. And then you got Edgar Bronfman Sr., his brother, who is the chairman of the United Communities, United Appeal, Council of Federations, and United That Country Appeal. Okay, so these aren't just some regular billionaires. These are hardcore Zist. And their daughters, or Edgar's, Claire and Sarah, got caught in the Nexium cult with Keith Raniere, who was, he had a cult of young women he was graping all these ladies.
Lex, Chris.
And they were, he actually branded women like you'd brand a cow with a hot, scarring them, usually above their hoo-hoo.
Yeah. So this guy right here, Lex Wexner, you mentioned him before, but I think it's important that we highlight this. This was Epstein's main guy, right? First, that financed him, supported him, etc. He's a big reason why Epstein had so much money in the first place, right? And this guy owns Victoria's Secret. What else does he own? A couple of the
LL brands, so Abercrombie and Finch, and all that Bed Bath and Beyond, all that stuff is his or was.
Yep.
And the Wexner Foundation, Epstein was actually part of the Wexner Foundation, and it used to be called the Wexner Heritage Foundation. And the first president of this organization, Rabbi Herbert Friedman, was part of the Sonborn Institute with Rudolph Sonborn and the boys that stole uranium from the United States. So, yeah. Nice bridge to that. So that would go back to Robert Maxwell and blowing the whistle on Mordecai Vanunu. It's just a big network. Like, Wexner's old. He's in his 80s. So he's one of these second generation guys that was around for the whole thing in the 60s and today, right? He's got one foot in the grave. And he's also been accused by his own employees of sexual harassment.
Yeah. So just so people understand this, so just to summarize real quick, because we threw a lot out there, so I'll summarize real quick for the audience, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, right? So rewinding it back, so you got Jeffrey Epst3in, right? Basically a failed math teacher. He gets into financial crime. He's out here doing Ponzi schemes out of Chicago, etc. He meets Ghislaine Maxwell. She's the one that actually has the powerful contacts. We're going to talk about how she was able to network here in a second. And he gets backed by Lex, who owns Victoria's Secret, owns these companies, etc.
He's a billionaire.
Yeah, he's a billionaire, and he also gets access to young models, right, that are attractive, right? And we're going to talk about how they had their scheme and how they had a whole scheme for this. We're going to talk about that as well, probably more likely on Rumble.
They had child models too, because not for Victoria's Secret, but for his other brands. You have 12-year-olds that sell to other 12-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
or you have someone that looks 12 but's an adult, so they advertise for your child clothing line, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so there was several modeling agencies. There's another one. Well, I'll go ahead and talk about Burnell now too. He's dead. He did get arrested during the Trump regime in
He's
Paris.
also on the list. Chris, can you pull him up?
Yep, he's on there. This guy was a monster. Like he started with Karen models out of that country, and then they changed the name to MC². Jean-Luc Burnell. It's
Burnell.
French. There he is. It's not his real name. He's this guy ran MC2. So it started in Tel Aviv. They had one in Paris, one in Miami, one in New York. And so that's why it says MC2 and Karen Models. It's actually it's the same company, just rebranded because of the bad reputation. He would drug women, what they accused Bill Cosby of. He would knock them out and then go grape them in the limousine. Yeah. And this is well known. There was a 60-minute special about it, like how often he did it. And so many people have come to me about, Burnell's parties where he would find club rats basically and slip pills, roofie their champagne or what have you, and bring them back and grape them. And he procured young models and foreign models, often from Ukraine, Romania, areas like this, and they would take their passports away and force them into servicing Epstein. Some of them couldn't even speak English. There's a particular incident on Epstein's birthday where he got triplets who were 12 years old as a birthday present for Jeffrey Epstein.
So these were some sick bastards, man.
And he died in prison. Allegedly, he killed himself, all by himself, too.
Okay.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Wow.
So going back, right? So he had Leslie Wexner, right? He was the one that basically got him in with the money, and then obviously Epstein was a financier. I say this with quotes, and he managed people's money, but he didn't really manage that many people's money.
Wexner gave him a house.
Yeah,
like that New York mansion that used to be a school, right across the street from Cosby.
Yes,
that was Wexner property.
$77 million home
for $1. Right? Here you go. So this guy provides him an HQ. His first headquarters is the one in New York, right?
Yep.
And he's really his only client at first. So, but this is just a conduit for state money from country A.
Give him like 170 million, something crazy like that.
Insane amounts of money, because we're still finding, like, Wexner would use different conduits too to get the money to Epstein. Of course, Epstein was part of the Wexner Foundation as well, as Reporty Carbine. So there's a tight relationship there between Ehud Barak, the former prime minister of Israel, the one that I was talking about meeting with Chomsky, and Les Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay. And Chris, scroll through. We have Barak in here as well. Scroll through. There we go. Bam, right there. Former prime minister of.
Yep, he was. Okay. He's also commander of the That Place Defense Force, and he was the chairman of Carbine, which got renamed Reporty. But that was a way of doing illegal campaign financing, and Epstein gave him over $4 million.
Wow.
He's also the guy that wrote a letter to President Clinton suggesting that he pardon Mark Rich. And Mark Rich and Pink is Green had their own little Epstein ring. Graping little African girls and things.
And if I'm not mistaken, and this guy got convicted, right, for graping. Was he the one?
Oh no, that's the president of that country. That was Moshe Katsav. Ehud Barak got money from the Wexner Foundation, which is really from Epstein, right?
Gotcha.
Because Wexner would pay off the people on Epstein's behalf. But so he was the prime minister, but there was an overlap. While he was prime minister, Israel has they have a president and a prime minister, just like France, and Moshe Katsav, who was the president from 2000 to 2007, was convicted of graping 4 women. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now
there's another Ehud, it's another prime minister, but his last name is Omert, and he's the former prime minister 2006 to 2009. So he overlapped also with Moshe Katsav, and he got convicted of fraud, obstruction of justice, taking bribes, and he was accused of sexual assault. And in one instance, he pinned a journalist up against the wall and put his tongue in her ear and in her nostril.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
Yo, man, crazy, man.
Oh, you want to hear some stuff that doesn't matter, but it's sick? So we can get into their fetishes if you want to.
Yo, Fresh is sweating, bro.
Listen, man, I'm quiet, bro, because I'm sweating bullets, dog.
Them boys.
Yo, man.
This ain't no joke, bro.
Yes. Man. All right.
And Kim.
All right. So before we go over, because everyone is fucking freaking out over here. I don't think it's that crazy, man. We haven't even.
I haven't even hit the gas pedal because this is YouTube, so I gotta be like, you know.
Yeah, and they're over here sweating, bro. Like, come on, man. We got the bells. All right, look. So real quick, so I gotta ask this before we go on over. So Leslie Wexner, right? He's one of Epstein's biggest backers. Why though? Like, why did he go and put millions upon millions of dollars in this guy's back, protect him, give him the infrastructure to be able to do the fuck shit that he was doing? Why?
Because he is plausible deniability for the state of them boys cannot directly pay Epstein, right? So what they're going to do is they use this class of billionaires where $1 million is not a big deal when you're a billionaire like Les Wexner. That's how they pay their assets inside the United States and the Caribbean, is they use the mega group to do it. So the Bronfmans and Wexner and Steinhardt and Schottenstein and that's who pays these criminals. It is similar to, you know, Ollie North and Iran Contra and stuff. They would use intermediaries to train the pilots in Arkansas and stuff. They weren't going to just like, here's your paycheck from the CIA. I mean, that would be stupid, right? And so don't worry though, because Wexner and stuff, they're going to get paid through other means by the state itself.
Gotcha.
So it's a way of moving money around without it going directly back to them.
Gotcha. So Epstein's doing the dirty work, and you got intermediaries that are facilitating the money being done. So
Epstein was a cutout. He was one of the best con artists ever.
Yeah.
But he wasn't particularly, I guess he had a little bit of talent in mathematics, but he definitely wasn't good at finance or any of that.
Yeah.
The one thing he was good at is grooming children. I guess that's a skill. Yeah. And he was okay in math, enough to like BS about it with somebody that's a math nerd, right?
Yeah. All right. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to switch on over to Rumble right now, guys, because we are holding back quite a bit. I ain't going to lie to y'all. We're holding back for obvious reasons, but come on over to Rumble right now. We're going to kill the YouTube stream. I've already put the link at the top of the description. All Ryan's stuff is there. And then we're going to cover 9/11, by the way, guys. Don't worry, on Friday. And that one is going to be super fucking detailed. So I hope you guys are ready. If you guys like what you're hearing now, this is like just impromptu stuff because Epstein's trending right now. Wait till you guys see the 9/11 stuff on Friday.
So should we read
this? Is just because the Wall Street Journal had this calendar come out and it's a hot issue. And you're like, hey, I'm doing all this ad lib, but I want to say something before we go over to Rumble.
Yeah.
Huge thank you and shout out to Sneeko for putting this together. Y'all can follow him on Twitter, Sneeko, and also follow him on Rumble. He's been canceled on lots of things.
He'll be here tonight.
And
he's gonna be here tonight. He's coming tonight.
Tell him I said hello. And this, he kind of put us in touch. So
absolutely,
big thank you to him.
Sneeko, man. That fuck.
Had a good time with him in Japan. Did some podcasts together. So
for sure.
Oh man. So all right, I'll read these chats real quick and then we'll go on over to Rumble. So
I'll talk more Rumble, guys.
Yeah,
I'll talk more Rumble.
Fresh scared.
Call it what you want, man.
All right. Ask Ryan if the Khazarian Mafia is real. We're going to talk about that. We'll talk about that on Rumble. That's definitely
don't answer that on YouTube.
Answer that one on YouTube. Sending much love. Have a great day, everyone. Cat push it. Future likes up. Cool. Demon Fingers goes. W Show Idea. Watch out for them boys. You know what time it is, guys. We're going to go to Rumble and talk about it fully. I bet you guys didn't know this. Chris Boxon was a child actor. He has the voice actor on the 90s show Fat Albert. He was the voice of Mushmouth. He had no script. The producers just say whatever you want. Okay, make fun of Chris. Fantastic. Jake Parker goes, WC conspiracy theorist. When the news broke on Epstein, no one was surprised. Literally everyone predicted his ending. The world woke up for a day, then all of a sudden forgot again. And I just want to let y'all know, Ryan has been researching this since 2006, and I'll show you how when we get over to Rumble. He has a forum, right? But y'all probably don't even know what the fuck forums are anymore. But in 2006, man,
that's where it was at in 2006, 7, 8 was forums.
Yeah, that's what it was. There was no YouTube back then. And then we got
pre
here,
MySpace. Yeah.
ask about the Epst3in map. Don't worry, we're showing y'all parts of it already. Christopher Harris, bro, y'all want to get banned? The first half of the title alone is enough to flag this video, even if you toe the line. RP, RIP, YouTube, and FNFC on Rumble. Don't worry, bro. Everyone's talking about Epst3in right now. We're fine. Martin Fresh, effing awesome show. Always impressed. Ryan, your work is so very important and so spot on. You the man as well. Okay, so how is it all these people are known and linked to criminal activities? Trump is the only one that seems to get taken in for questioning. Well, we're going to talk about that in detail. He already alluded to it a bit here, guys, if you guys know what I'm saying.
Ask me that again, because I will explain it.
Yeah. And then we got here Ibrahim Nagish. Was there only sports stars involved with Epst3in? We'll talk about that as well. There definitely were. And then Dark Eyes. Cool. So, guys, come on over to Rumble right now. Rumble.com/freshfit. The link is below in the description. Go ahead and click it because we're going to go over there right now. And it's going to be a fucking...
Also, get the app, guys. Get the app.
Get the app.
Cool.
So,
the Rumble app.
The YouTube app right now, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Come on over to Rumble right now. Right now.
Cool. There we go.
All right, man. We're on fucking Rumble now. AK, y'all know what time it is, man. It's about to be lit in this bitch.
So can I say that J word?
Yeah, you can say it. Choose.
Let me stretch a little bit.
Yeah. I feel a little bit better talking now, man.
Yeah.
He was a Mossad asset. Okay. The Wexner Group and all that, they work for the Israeli state. Whew.
Let's talk about what's it called? The donation group that we were talking about before.
Mega, yeah.
And then can you explain that?
Well, Sunborn's earlier, so that was a group of millionaires in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Okay, so and we've mapped that all out. You've seen NUMEC, but there is a little bit of overlap between some of them boys and today's dim boys, right? So that's and that's through the Wexner Foundation. And that goes on and on. I think there's a map behind me. Oh, that's too small. I can go grab it. Sorry. But yeah.
Oh, he's gonna get you all the map, man. Yo, welcome to Fresh and Fit on Rumble. Shit is different over here, motherfuckers. Woo!
Trying to get the link for Rumble real quick. Cool.
Yo, your mic is muted, Ryan, I think.
Yeah, we can't hear you, bro.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Ryan. Your mic is muted.
Or unplugged.
Holy.
Check
No,
the other
can't
side
hear
of the
you.
plug.
Can't hear you.
Oh, them boys got him.
Them boys got him.
Check the other side of the plug.
Yeah, check the other side of the plug, dude. It might have plugged out of your mixer or out of your computer. Still muted. Still muted.
Unplug it, and plug it back in.
Oh yeah, because on his side it's muted. Yeah. So he unplugged his mic, is what it means.
Oh yeah.
Probably when he got up.
Yeah, when he got up, he might have unplugged it. Nah, still can't hear you, bro. Still, yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
1 2 1 2.
He's gonna fix his sound right now. But yo,
In the meantime,
guys, I need y'all to do. Yeah, go ahead.
follow us on Rumble, man. Listen, guys, I'm telling you right now,
this is amazing.
I was quiet because I already know what's gonna happen, bro. Anyhow, if it doesn't happen, great.
Might
I'm just saying, guys, eventually we're gonna be on Rumble. So follow us here, get the app, and best of all, guys, understand this is Myron's show.
This is my show?
This is your show, brother.
All right, hey man, fuck it, it's my show.
It's your guys, nigga.
All right, nigga, I'm happy.
Listen, man. Listen,
Hey man.
I agree. Things should be cleared up amongst friends. Certain things should not be to the public. This is why I'm quiet, because I understand consequences of speaking on these things.
Hey man.
That is all.
Hey man, I feel good about this. The people need to know. This is important shit, man.
Hey man, I'm just
we got
saying,
12,000 watching on Rumble, man. Shout out to y'all on Rumble right now. While Ryan fixes his mic, I do want to tell you guys, I want you guys really, like real talk, a lot of this is going to make sense. Watch the documentary NUMEC, okay?
How do you spell it?
NUMEC, okay? Shit is fucking awesome. He talks about how, to summarize it for you guys real quick, I mean, I'm not going to, like, it's all historical fact. But basically, there was a surplus of weapons in the United States, right, after World War II. And quite frankly, there was an arms trafficking gang that was involved in moving the weapons from the United States over to, the homeland for them boys so that they could fight off the Palestinians and, create the state that we know now, right? And then on top of that, they stole, uranium from the United States and it was out of Ohio, Pennsylvania. and they used it to make a nuclear bomb, which there was the whistleblower, which we talked about on the YouTube version. And then Ghislaine Maxwell's father ends up exposing him, and they ended up getting a chick who also was a part of them boys. She honey traps him and lures him back to a spot where he gets kidnapped by Mossad. And all this shit was going down.
Ryan's back.
Oh, he's back? All right, let's get him back in.
Yep.
All this shit was going down, and it's a fantastic documentary. Y'all need to watch it. I was telling about Numek, Ryan.
Oh, it's free. It's on Rumble. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's on Rumble,
We
guys.
got
Go
him.
fucking
Click
watch
on the information. You might want to watch it twice or
So-
more, but
So
Good
let's go back. So we talked about Jeffrey Epstein, and we talked about how he was kind of doing the dirty work, and the rich billionaires, the millionaires, etc., out of the Sunborn Group and the donators, they were the intermediaries to fund Epstein's shit that he was doing. Now,
yeah. So the Israelis, they had this backbone donor class out of Canada and the United States that it's ethnic nepotism. Like these companies, it started with organized crime, which you've been covering, right, with Lansky and so on.
Yeah.
And then it grows into legit businesses, but they always have state assistance. So they're not really, it's not like a free market enterprise. They're always getting bailed out when they screw up or getting money from the Israeli states or their conduits. So they create this donor class. So there's two ways to manipulate people in power. You can bribe them or you can blackmail them.
Yep.
And bribes go a long way in the beginning, but when someone's super rich, bribes don't really work. You always bribe the poor, you blackmail the rich.
Yep.
So if you can get someone compromised, right, they've got everything to lose. So if you can get them kitty fiddling on camera, you got them by the shorties. And so a lot of these bankers, they would, I don't have to hit that, I guess, but like they get them compromised. And it's also a way, it's sort of insurance on black market deals. Like you're definitely going to follow through with your end of it or else.
Yep.
And so that's what they're doing. And a lot of speakers of the House and prominent officials have been hit with Israeli honey traps and bribed as well. So they get the carrot and the stick. Like you're going to take this money, and if not, we've got you or someone in your staff or one of your relatives. We got them on tape doing this and that. So, and they have the media will report it. So if they wanted to get rid of Vitter, they can. They want to get rid of Elliot Spitzer, they can. Like anybody that was blowing the whistle on their financial crimes, suddenly, look, you have an 18-year-old mistress, and that's all over the news.
Yeah.
But as long as you played ball, nothing happened, nothing was in the news, the media doesn't cover it. But if you look at the relationship with people like Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox, with people like Boris Berezovsky, one of the Russian oligarchs now deceased, and all through that map, right? They're all in there, right? It's a long, giant network.
Yep.
Epstein's lawyer. You're going to pull up Alan Dershowitz's card and get in it.
Chris, let's pull up his Epstein's lawyer, and then I want to get into Ghislaine Maxwell and how she was able, because she was the one that actually recruited these people.
Yeah.
Epstein was just kind of like, he would kind of be involved, but it was really Ghislaine Maxwell that was pulling the strings and getting him in rooms with these people.
And I do want to mention as well, if let's say you're one of these people that are blackmailed, right? For the most part, you're going to stay quiet. But if you choose to go against them, they're going to discredit you by calling you crazy, calling you a psycho, and whatever you say is going to be kind of like pushed down. So,
and how do you go against them? Who are you going to tell? The media is not going to report it.
The media won't report it. So you can't really fight them.
Go back.
You can't beat them, bro. You can't.
Oh, yeah, I think Chris, pay attention to the top left, man.
Good point, Ryan.
Like I've had this information, but who am I supposed to?
That's great, bro.
You know what's funny about this, Ryan? Like this information is so important.
There you go.
But it will never be shared. So it's kind of like, I don't know, bro. It's just.
I mean, we were scared to talk about it on YouTube because we all know that YouTube supports pedophiles, and that if you say this stuff on there, you'll lose your channel.
Yeah, pretty much. So
here's his lawyer that you wanted to mention.
Yeah, Mr. Dershowitz.
Yeah.
So he's such a creep. He said things like, "Did I get a massage while maybe other things were going on at other parts of the house? Yeah, I don't know, but I kept my underwear on." So it's like, oh, you got a massage from one of Epstein's girls, but it's okay. He kept his underwear on.
Did he tell
That's become a meme. Like, I kept my underwear on. Yo, that makes it okay.
Did he tell the FBI that?
He said that in an interview with the press. He was like,
Wow.
did I? He didn't say I did. He's like, did I maybe? He knows this lawyer talk. He's like, did I maybe get a massage in one room while in another room something? I don't know. It's a big house. I don't know what was going on somewhere else.
Like, incredible.
I went there with my wife. I'm like, oh yeah, like that matters. Like,
so even his lawyer was involved in some bullshit. So let me ask you this with Ghislaine Maxwell.
well, we can say this about his lawyer. First of all, he defended pedophilia. I think it was a Penthouse, might have been Playboy, whatever, but he writes this article saying, and this, I'm going to show you how narcissistic this guy is. And I mean that in the clinical sense, because a lot of people say the word narcissist and they just mean arrogant.
Yeah,
I mean narcissist, like actual false audience syndrome type of guy.
Yeah.
He's so self-centered that he wrote a defense for child pornography by saying, well, it doesn't matter because you're not actually engaged in sex, whatever. You're just looking at pictures. So you're not actually doing anything to the kid. And it's like, hello, how about the kid in the picture?
Yeah.
Somebody got there, an adult with a camera looking at them nude and forcing them to do this and embarrassing the hell out of them. And they don't want to be there. They can't consent because they're a child. Right.
Yeah.
But he only looks at the perspective of the perp going, well, we're just looking. We're not actually know that kid or touch them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable. Like level of a complete inability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, right? Totally devoid of empathy. And Norman Finkelstein, who hates Alan Dershowitz, he pointed out on a podcast recently, all you got to do is look at who he hangs out with and who he represents. Yeah. This guy is a lawyer for serial rapists. Yeah. I'll give you a couple examples. He was accused of rape himself. That got thrown out because Virginia Jeffr3y already got millions from Prince Andrew, and why not go and enjoy your money instead of spending? Yeah, but he defended Baruch Leibovitz, who confessed to rape of an underage boy, and he got convicted in 2010. Yeah, which was later overturned, but he had another 8 counts of sexual child abuse. But he's a rabbi out of Brooklyn, so they just overturned this decision. And his lawyer's Alan Dershowitz. He also defended Roman Polanski. Okay, and Roman Polanski was a convicted pedophile, raped a 13-year-old boy, and flees to France. Doesn't get extradited. And this guy is hanging out with Arnan Milchan, who is the largest arms dealer for Israel and also the executive producer for the film JFK, which doesn't mention Israel once.
Yes, it does not.
No, it doesn't.
It's crazy to me how, like, all these people, right? Like people that claim to be, oh yeah, we go against the grain. We know that there's an inside job, but what do? They refer to them as elites. They refer to them as the deep state. They refer to them as whatever, right? Like they're too scared to just call the fucking people out by their name, right? And then when you do the research, you figure out where they all from. I mean, hey man, it's we don't make the rules. We're just reporting it, right? So it is what it is. So real quick,
I want to make it clear. It's not because they're Jewish that they act like this.
Yeah.
What it is, the reason that it matters to point out the ethnicity is because this is a 2% minority, super minority in the United States, right? Yeah. How could they be involved in all these networks and pedophile rings and stuff unless there was some support from a state? So if they were all Chinese, you would think China is involved, right? If they're all North Korean, you think the state of North Korea is involved. But, unless you just think being a pervert is a natural outgrowth of being Jewish, which I don't, then the only explanation is they're all this group because they're all getting support from the Israeli state.
Yeah, it's just a very small percentage that are involved in nefarious activity, but the majority
it's just a few dozen people, but but they're all gonna don't collectively judge. That's like blaming slavery on whiteness. Slavery is a product of power, not biology. Right?
Yeah,
it's a
real quick, and I'm glad we made that distinction.
It's something that shouldn't have to be said, but it does. And nowadays, woke collectivists, that's how it is.
It's a very small percentage. There's a few dozen people doing a bunch of the bullshit. But I want to say this too. I want to ask you this. So we talked about Jeffrey Epstein, kind of a bullshit financier, failed math teacher, involved in financial crime. Then he goes ahead and gets protection from Leslie Wexner. is able to kind of do this bullshit because Wexner is kind of a conduit between, Israel and Epst3in doing the shit that he was doing. But he would not be as successful as he was without Ghislaine Maxwell. Can you tell us a little bit about?
Yeah, she had quite the Rolodex because her father and her sisters were already pretty prominent, and she was having sex with Prince Andrew. They went to Oxford, I believe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And she was, that guy, Prince Andrew is a creep. He's got a hardcore foot fetish, by the way. A little side story. When he was I don't know if he was aware that he was raping Virginia Roberts, because to him, like, she was forced to have sex with him by Maxwell and Epst3in, but he might not have known that. He might have thought, oh, she's into me, but whatever. He knew she was a little kid. But they had a bath together before the act, and he's really into feet, so he was having her put her toes and stuff in his mouth, and he was just really like enjoying her feet. And apparently the act itself was very fast, over quite quickly, just one and done. He's had all these teddy bears for his birthday. He surrounded his bed with. He had cameras inside his stuffed animals. And he would be livid if any of the maids or anything touched his teddy bears, because he needed them in certain positions and stuff.
Yeah.
But he also visited Peter Nygaard, who's in prison for raping all these young women in the Bahamas. He also would drug them and have anal sex, a scat fetish, have shit on his face and things like this. And so Andrew actually cut a vacation short with his wife. He was supposed to be with her for 6 days. He spent 3 of them with Nygaard.
Andrew photo. Just type in Prince Andrew photo, and this is going to be the infamous photo.
With Virginia Jeffr3y
and this
now
is
her name's
she
Robert.
was 17 years old, and you're going to see Ghislaine Maxwell on the back. Bam, right there. Just hit images.
You can see Epst3in in the back too. See that flash in the window?
Yeah, click that.
If you zoom in on that, you can kind of see Epst3in taking the picture.
Oh shit! Okay, and
you need like a large
go
picture
back
of the
and
picture.
say that Prince Andrew tried.
That's in her house. That's the second floor of her house, and that's right before they went to the bathroom together.
Yeah, and there's Ghislaine Maxwell right there. There's Prince Andrew. There's the girl, and then Epst3in is there taking a photo. So
and Glenn's drunk in that picture too.
So Ryan, why do you think he took that photo?
She manipulated them. She was like, "Oh, I just want to show my mom that I met a prince or whatever." And they're like, "Who cares? Like, if she has this photo," because she had really played up her role. Like, "Oh, I'm into this. I'll do whatever you say, Jeffrey," because she's trying to gain their trust, because she's planning to get out of there as soon as she gets an opportunity. And what she came up with eventually was like, well, I want to get my massage license, whatever, and train in Thailand. And they sent her over there and then she met her now husband and fled to Australia. He just said, like, good luck with your life, whatever. She was actually one of the girls they had chosen to carry one of his babies. He was going to impregnate a bunch of his rape victims. And he liked this kind of look, this sort of ballerina look of this like blonde, thin, girly, whatever. And she was getting, 17, a little bit too old for him anyway. But Prince Andrew flew to New York and raped her again later that year. But as I was saying, he met with Peter Nygaard, and I think this is a good bridge, because Peter Nygaard drugged all these women in the Bahamas that he's doing the poop fetish with and stuff.
For the audience, because they might not know.
He ran a women's clothing line, Nygaard, out of Canada. He's also a billionaire, so he has like a plus line. I don't think he's one of them. Dope. He's from
what?
He's from Scandinavia, but he lived in Canada.
Why is it only?
I know he's not. He wasn't involved with Israel, as far as I can tell. However,
under 18. Why? That shit.
Yeah, I know. Like he's a billionaire, so it's not like it'd be hard to just.
That's what I'm saying.
Legally go to Vegas or something, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, they like little kids. Like, it's like the one thing you can't buy, I guess.
Well, okay. So let's spin it back for the audience real quick, because it doesn't. Because
hold on. My question is, how would Prince Andrew know a guy who's like 25 years older than him is doing this in the Bahamas? Like, how would you even know who Peter Nygaard was to go visit him and do the same kind of stuff you were doing with Epst3in? There must have been a relationship between them, and I think a lot of these cells, if you listen to a lot of the victims, a lot of Epst3in girls got passed into other networks after they got older, right? So when you got 18, 19 and he wasn't into that, they pass him on to some other billionaire network where they would continue doing what had been done to them.
So
and Nygaard, I believe, is one of these one of the men in the circle.
Can I add one point here as well? So one of my guys in the network knows a girl personally, and he says she got trafficked out of Scottsdale Airport. They had an entire network with Nexium, ASU. The government gave her $8K a month for hush money.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
earlier I touched on Nexium with Keith Rainier. Two of the groomers and procurers for Keith were Claire and Sarah Bronfman. And of course, Edgar and Charles Bronfman are involved with Wexner and Epst3in and the Mega Group.
No.
Okay.
And
So
the Nexium cult, they were branding girls with hot irons, and they got hush money. And now here's another interesting thing. A lot of the hush money, 8K might have been just handed to her in cash. I don't know. But Epst3in was paying $20,000 usually through JP Morgan Chase, through Jess Staley, would send the hush money to different girls to keep their mouth shut.
Okay.
And that's in a lawsuit that was brought about by Denise George from the Virgin Islands on the last day of December.
Oh,
Or second to last day. December 29th, she issues this lawsuit. I think I gave you a screenshot of that if you want to find it and pull it up.
Yeah.
And
Chris, it should be there.
Yep.
She is accusing JP Morgan Chase for abetting Epst3in in his crimes, for facilitating this payoff money to all these different girls, basically telling them, here's your money, shut the F up or else, right? It's the carrot and the stick, the same thing they do a lot of them. And so this lawsuit alleges billionaire investor Leon Black. Well, that's another one. We can get into him too. Yeah, there's too many of these people, right?
Too many. Okay.
Bear Stearns, that's another. It's Ace Greenberg. That's another one. But
just leave it.
No, you want the Jess Staley.
Ryan, is this what it takes to be a billionaire? Because I don't want to be a billionaire anymore, bro.
It seems like a lot of them are. It makes you wonder just how many people are into little kids. Like, how is that even good bait? Like, why not a young 20-year-old or something? Like, 18 is pretty low already. You know what I'm saying? Like, why does it have to be 15 or 17? But that's, I guess, you know, they weren't billionaires in high school and they got a chip on their shoulder. Who knows? But this is the map I was trying to show before. This is not the Epst3in map. This is a different map.
Whoa. But
this goes further into the Mega Group and the McCain family and stuff. That it just shows how deep this stuff goes. But Abigail Wexner also facilitated money at Ohio State for Richard Strauss, who was a pedophile. And LL Brands connects to Robert H. Schottenstein, who that goes back to the Lincoln Group, and John Weaver, who's another convicted pedophile who worked for John McCain, who his father-in-law was James Hensley, worked for United Liquor. So that goes back to the Bronfman family with Samuel Bronfman, and then Charles Bronfman, Edgar Bronfman Jr. and Sr. You know, they're sick, dude. And yeah, like a lot of these billionaires, at least the ones tied to the Israeli state, are into some real debaucherous stuff. So child abuse and even baby abuse. I mean, like, I'm sure you've heard about the Mary Kay Letourneau affair with Joseph P. Schmitz, and they pulled a baby into the hospital, had hair wrapped around his penis so tightly, nearly castrated the child. They had to save it by cutting the hair, and they saved him. But she impregnated herself by raping a 13-year-old boy. But it helps when you're related to the inspector general. And so that is all in with the Bush family, Marvin Bush, who was seeing hookers in Thailand. And I have a whole chalkboard video of that stuff too. This network just flowers out. Epst3in is just one of the petals. Okay. Yeah. Like, this mega group is like, I can go on and on, but he was the worst though. Like, of all these things that I know of, at least of all these things, the most prolific, most international, well-organized child kidnapping and rape ring was out of Maxwell and Epst3in for sure.
So I think it's very important, and I want to bring this out because me and you were talking about this in detail. So on December 29th, a couple of things happened, right? So pull up this article, Chris.
Yep.
Right. So JP Morgan, right, gets sued, right?
Yes, there you go. Look at the date.
Look at the date, guys.
December.
Can you zoom? December 29th.
December 29th.
2022.
What
Something
also
else happened?
December 29th, guys?
Yeah, last year. Oh, so I said the last day of December because I'm in Asia. I'm a day ahead.
Yeah.
So, but for me, that is when the Tate brothers and their employees got arrested. And you tried to look up trafficking, rape, any of these keywords or anything, plus just the story itself. Like, you got the New York Post talking about a very important case about JP Morgan being sued for facilitating hush payments. And all the news talked about was Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, mostly Andrew, which was absolute bullshit. They still haven't even been charged, and we can talk about that later if you want. But like, they're just like, oh, let's arrest this influencer. Like, the most Googled person that year, I believe, was Andrew Tate. He's all over TikTok, all over YouTube, all of it. It's not even him. Like, he's already been blanket banned. All of them were. I was blanket banned first, just saying, what's up, noob? No. Like, they gave him the treatment, and it didn't work. So like, well, if you can't shut them up, lock them up.
Yep.
But that story took all the headlines and all these horrible accusations about these guys who are not able to defend themselves because they're in jail. Yep. Right. And basically banned on everything. But then Elon Musk is like, nah. And he, like, even I have a Twitter now. So he's brought, not perfect because people still getting banned on Twitter, but the Tates are now on Twitter and can now, a little bit get exonerated. But I'm sure, they're holding back because they're not going to talk about the case because they pretty much got a slam dunk win here in the future. But
when Andrew was talking about the Matrix attacking, guys, this is a component of that. Think about that. I want you this to really, like, guys, let this sink in for a second. So the day that a lawsuit is brought against Epst3in and his bank for paying hush money to girls in the Caribbean, who's arrested? Andrew and his brother. And what are they arrested for? Trafficking. So if you Google anything that has to do with human trafficking, rape, any of that other stuff, Andrew Tate's going to come up, not Jeffrey Epst3in.
And also, he wasn't even arrested. He wasn't charged for trafficking. He wasn't charged for rape. He was accused of it. Right? Yep. They didn't even have charges. And they're basically throwing that out and saying, well, you incited violence or some other BS, Yeah, so I investigated some of the accusers and found plenty of dirt on them too, but that's whatever. And I've never spoken to Andrew Tate or anything. I just was like, well, if this person's getting banned on everything and get these kind of accusations, I do this shit for a living. Like, I investigate actual pedophiles and actual human traffickers, and the Tate brothers just don't fit the profile at all.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And you've been studying this for a while, and it's just when you get into
people that accuse you of being misogynist, and we're like, look, you have me on, and I'm going, who's misogynist? Jeffrey Epst3in. They treated these women like toys.
Yeah, and it's just interesting how on December 29th, when this shit happens, right? What do? Bam, let's arrest the most popular influencer, so no one sees this story come out.
Ryan, do you know the truth of this statement? Is Jeffrey Epst3in really dead?
Yeah, he is. Because they did 2 autopsies on him. And that's not something they wanted. The first woman that did it said it was suicide. But then his brother, Mark, did not believe that because Jeffrey Epst3in wanted to be immortal and all this. He tried to, he had some nonsense stuff. He wanted to freeze his brain and penis. He's a weird dude.
Yeah.
He did a second autopsy with different medical examiner and found that he had broken bones in his neck. And then later we get testimony from some of the inmates saying they heard him screaming. So it's like he was murdered. And then they showed his corpse. He got buried next to his parents. What happened is the QAnon people went around being like, he's still alive and living in Israel. And this is what they do. And they do this about September 11th too. They always say outrageously ridiculous bullshit. And then they say Israel. Right, to make it look like the people criticizing Israel are the ones that think Epstein's still alive and deny airplanes in 9/11, blah blah blah. Right? So who started those lies?
Yeah.
Yep. Again.
Yeah, the fact that his brother did a second autopsy, good on that, because that proved that he was actually murdered.
Yeah, they didn't have some body double come in and kill him and put a mask on him. Like, he's definitely dead. That guy. No way he was going to live. Everybody predicted he was going to die in jail because he had too much information on the most powerful people in the world.
So who do you think was behind his death?
Clinton.
Okay.
Who runs? I mean, Hillary Clinton was the senator for New York, and it's kind of a hard puzzle because everybody needed him dead, right? All the most powerful people needed him dead. So the question you got to ask is, Well, who runs that territory? Who's got access to the prison systems in New York, MCC, and so on? And that's the Clintons.
Yep. And don't they own that actual prison that he died at, the Metropolitan prison?
I don't think they own it, but whoever it was, what they would do is outsource that to the mob, because if the mob gets caught, so what?
Yeah.
You know, throw them under the bus. So you've got that area, Gambino, Giovesi. There's a lot of mob in New York, so that still doesn't really help you. But it would be organized crime that would run that.
The Genovese, you got the Lucchese's, you got the Colombos, you got the.
I would say Genovese in that for that prison, because a lot of their people are in that prison, and so I mean Patrick Ho was in that prison. He was he got burned by the Epsteins, but it wasn't him. I don't think.
His roommate
Epstein tried to befriend the biggest dude in there, right?
His roommate was like 4 people. Tortileona or the fucking
Tartarleon guy,
yeah, that he killed.
Yeah, he killed 4 police. He's a big dude. So Epstein's like, I want that roommate, because he knows they're coming for him.
Yeah.
But apparently they moved him out. He was on suicide watch. He got injured. And they never really said, did he injure himself? Did someone attack him? Right? They just found him in the fetal position, allegedly. And he's supposed to be on suicide watch. That means you're supposed to have a roommate. You're supposed to have all these rules. None of this is followed. The warden retires. The 2 cops that were supposed to be watching him that were asleep or shopping online or whatever they were doing.
Yeah, they went to sleep.
No punishment, right?
A nap.
Because they are told, hey, take a nap. Like that's what they were told. So they did. You know, they don't get paid enough to.
And their charges were dropped. They got charged with conspiracy and falsifying records. And then next thing you know, they ended up getting their charges dropped. I just looked at the indictment recently. So
that's right. They tried to falsify the records. And like, why do the cameras never work on all these? Always CCTV cameras fail at key moments, right? It's like they got coincidence to do.
So real quick with Ghislaine Maxwell, and we're going to talk about why Epstein did what
clearly Epstein died of corona. It went back in time and got him.
Ghislaine Maxwell, right? So she was the person that was putting him in rooms with people, and she had a fund, right? Didn't she have she had a charity that she did, which put her in the room with really powerful people? Can we talk about
Tamar Ocean? So
and she had
her father died in the ocean, right? In 1991, he was thrown off a boat near the Canary Islands and drowned nude.
Yeah.
Allegedly. But Gordon Thomas wrote a book about it, saying the Mossad poisoned him and threw him overboard. He was trying to blackmail the blackmailers. You don't do that. He lost a lot of money in this pension scam he did on his own. And he was going to reveal ways and means from Israeli intelligence. And they said, the fuck you are, and threw him off a boat. So, but interesting. Her father dies in the oceans, and she does this oceans charity. Which, like, how can you sell pieces of the ocean? They're not yours to give away, but whatever. But that did give her access to the UN.
Yes.
So if you've seen my film, The Biden Crime Syndicate, I tied that up with a bow with her at the end, right? She's meeting with all these people, and the Biden family is deep into this. So is John Kerry. Joe Biden's obvious. He can't keep his hands off little kids and sniffing their hair when he knows he's on film. He's got so little self-control, and he's taking showers with his daughter, and like they're pedophiles. Hunter Biden too. They're all pedophiles. And look at all these former intelligence assets that came to Hunter Biden's defense. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's Russian propaganda. They needed him in. They needed Trump gone. Because while Trump was in office, boom, Epstein arrested, Burnell arrested, Maxwell arrested, Nygaard arrested, like other people stepping down from their positions. Robert Kraft, Leon Black, like because he had personal beef with Jeffrey Epstein and Les Wexner. So did the Kushners. And trust me, Trump and the Kushners have their own bag of shit, but they're not, at least they didn't go to raping kid level. You know, they got a line somewhere, you know, but you know, it's kind of like rival cartels. They do fight with each other from time to time. And they did not anticipate, oh, one day this guy's going to be president. So somebody was asking that question earlier, like, why are they always showing the pictures of Trump and Epstein? And, you know, the only thing they were interested in, the only reason the media picked up this story is they thought Trump was involved. And then as soon as they found out he wasn't, they dropped it like a hot potato. They're like, right, that's that. And even when Acosta said this guy's intelligence and he's got a passport with a Saudi address, which is fake, you know, that's not
Epstein,
something
you mean.
just,
Epstein had
this.
this.
Epstein did. Yep, Epstein did. And they found that in his safe in his New York property.
It was an
which
Austrian
he had
passport?
used. Austrian passport. Saudi had it, got it made in Austria by another, and he visited France, Spain, Saudi Arabia, and it's like, look, this guy has friends in high places for sure.
Yeah.
And the Israelis do the same thing to these Americans. When the really nitty gritty stuff, they outsource to organized crime. It's kind of like privateers, right? Like privateers were secret pirates that were sponsored by the state, but covertly done. So if you got caught, you're a pirate, but you're actually secretly getting covert support from a state or a state conglomerate like the East India Tea Company back in the day. It'd be BlackRock today. BlackRock and Vanguard are like the East India Tea Company. That's like the mega corporation that has percentages of all the other corporations.
Yeah.
It's huge holding company cartel, and they get used to facilitate cash because they have so much money that, you know, you're a missing 25K, 100K, even $1 million. It's not even traceable.
Yeah.
Well, by the time you find out, the deed's been done and long gone.
So with Ghislaine Maxwell, right? So she would be, so she had access to the UN because of her charity that she was involved with the oceans.
Right.
And
the charity doesn't matter what her charity was. It gave her access to UN officials.
Yeah.
Which means she also gets to go to the little cocktail parties and things and target them with their Jean-Luc Brunel models, their Wexner models, and whoever Epstein
they had
groomed,
access to
you know.
Victoria's Secret models, and it would start with the girls who are of age, and then they'd slowly do more meetings, and the ages would come down. Correct, if I'm not mistaken.
They would use them like a lure. We call it fishing.
Yep.
You know, look at me with all these ladies. Look, oh, I can introduce you to so and so. Oh, I know Naomi Campbell. Oh, I know this famous person. That famous person has clout, right?
Yep.
I know Woody Allen, who, you know, adopted his own rape victim and married her.
Damn.
So they would, well, look at Hunter Biden, right? Banging his dead brother's wife and cheating on her with her sister, and then cheats on her with a hooker who he knocks up and then denies that it's his baby mama, but DNA proved otherwise. Like, it's some Jerry Springer stuff with the Biden family.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if one of Trump kids did that.
Oh,
imagine if they done any of that I just listed. That's just a minor, like, for that crackhead. Like, it'd be all over. It'd be on Blimps in the Sky. Donald Trump Jr. bangs hooker, gets her pregnant, you know, sleeps with his brother, his dead brother's wife. And when Beau Biden died, they did a cancer charity and raised $3.9 million, and none of it went into cancer R&D. It just went right back in the DNC coffers. These people are psychotic. And that's, you know,
going back because we got sidetracked there.
Anyway, so Ghislaine Maxwell would get to these cocktail parties, lure people in with the models usually, because it wasn't all underage. They compromised people with just women too, people who were married, or, you know, it wasn't just the kids. And also kind of lure them into their properties. And it's like, well, you even being photographed with this is going to come back to bite you, you know? And if they didn't say anything, like you go to it, let's say you went to Pedophile Island and you see all these topless teenagers around the pool, and you're like, I mean, you don't know, but you're like, they kind of look like 14, 15, but you can't, that's not, you're going to go up and ask them, hey, how old are you? You have a breast out. Like, you're just going to go like, I didn't see that. You know, it's easier just to act like you were never there.
See, and I wanted to touch on this because, hold on, stop the show. I wanted to touch on this because people think that Epstein would just have like, oh, you want to bang some 13-year-olds? No, it was a move.
He would groom his targets just like he groomed his girls. He'd be like, oh, he groomed them with the massage stuff. He'd be like, oh, just do a regular massage, maybe oil massage, get $200. Second time come back, maybe he turns over on the table, maybe his dingling's hanging out of his underwear or towel, whatever, and he would just like ramp it up, right?
Yeah.
But each time she'd take the money, and they're like, whatever. I mean, you're getting $200 a pop. Just let them jerk off in front of you, and then maybe help them out. And then Maxwell would join, and they'd have a threesome or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they'd add the toys, and then she would get brutally raped. But by then it's like, well, you accepted this time. And they're kids, man. They're like, that's a lot of money for a little kid. And it's
teenagers.
They're scared because they see him with the president of the United States, and they see him with the chief of police, and they're like, who am I going to tell? What can I do? I'm a little kid. Like, so you're like, why didn't more girls come out? Well, where were they supposed to go? Some of them did. They did tell the FBI. The FBI didn't do anything. They did tell the police, and the police didn't do anything. So where are they supposed to go?
When I read the police reports, like, he would have the girls that worked for him go recruit other girls at the high school as well. And like, I think it's very important for the audience to know, Like
That's right.
he would get he would get the target in, right? Like he'd go to the parties, he'd have these Victoria's Secret models with him that were of age, they were hot. And then as that person met with them in privacy, the girls would get younger and younger and younger. And at that point, it's like, fuck, you're here with us. We're taking pictures with you. You're compromised. So it's like, shit, what are you going to do? So that's how they kind of reel these high target people in. Some people didn't buy into it, right? I know, like you said something about Pinkerton or whatever. They tried it with him and he was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, he was like, there were a lot of prominent scientists they were targeting. So what they would do is like, well, if they couldn't get them, they would compromise the universities like OSU, MIT, because a lot of them do R&D projects with private companies, like the Microwire case. And I have a bunch of interviews with John Harness, Research and Development.
Yeah.
So they would. Sorry, I know that's for the audience. We're like,
yeah,
we're talking to all ages right now. I know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I if I do acronyms, just reel me in.
No, I got you. I got you.
We're going to. So what it is a university will get grants from either their state or the federal government to help research scientific endeavors, and sometimes that overlaps a private company that will go and you have grad students help them work on the Mendux side type stuff. And so there's a case. John Hanesio is a lawyer. I've done interviews with him with a cutting edge technology called Microwire that seems to have been stolen, and all the trade secrets went to Israel. And they're like, how are they ending up with this? Who's leaking all of these? Yeah. But it's because they had such large donations to MIT through Ito, and now we know Chomsky and other people that were prominent professors there and worked in the administration there, that they would give it to the Israelis because they don't want them to withdraw the donations.
Yeah. Now, I guess to bring this full circle, why did Epst3in go through the trouble of, you know, bringing these prominent people in, blackmailing them with young girls, putting them in compromising situations, making them pay for university grants, etc., flexing? Why did he do all this?
To gain access to science and technology for the Israeli state was one. And he also seemed to be I don't know what you call these clout chaser. It was like trophies for him. He liked collecting, like, look, I'm bossing around Bill Gates. Look, I'm bossing around Bill Clinton. I have this, I have that. He had, and this was his hubris that really did him in, because they kept Black Book and the calendar and other things. And I have to say this, I can't remember if I said this in the beginning or not, but a lot of these like lists that are going around are just lazy copies of his Black Book. Not everybody they got a phone number from was involved in a crime. Not everybody that took a picture with them was involved in a crime. And many people who were involved in crimes are not in the Black Book. Like the names on that calendar, for example, who you set up meetings for, aren't in his book. Ehud Barak is, but other ones were not, right?
Gotcha.
And so you can't lazily just copy the book or the flight logs and be like, this is the client list. That's not the client list. I have the client list, which was compiled through victim testimony and trials and going through the specific lawsuits and things that name people. And if you get a name and then you can put it on the list. Now, I've read that out, like 60 some names on Rumble. I have another 100 or so that I know the name, but I am not getting sued. So I got to wait until a paper or something confirms it.
Yeah.
Because I am hearing stuff from the girls themselves. Right. And I'm not going to tell you how I got the information, because then they'll change what they're doing. But like, I have a way of digging it up, and, we've put this out there. And then, like we were just talking about Jess Staley and Leon Black, I had that out many years ago. And then YouTube channels like Redacted will come out and be like, new information, Leon Black did this and that. I'm like, that's not new, but maybe for you guys. But Leon Black did send him over $158 million.
Let's pull up Leon Black real quick, Chris. Here,
pull up his card. Pull up that article on him, because
we have an article.
There was one from just a year or two ago. I think 2001, maybe.
Well, I guess
2002. I mean 2021. Excuse me. So there's Leon Black. So that BV7 LLC, it was where he threw 10 million into Epstein's Gratitude America.
Bam.
Right. So from one LLC to another, and the Leon Black Family Foundation. But that was the first nugget we had. Then there's another $140 million, 148. So you're looking at $158 million that we know of. And he's Apollo Global Management.
Okay.
Was his hedge fund. And he kept him on the board of a member of the Leon Black Family Foundation. So Epstein's on the board of LBFF.
Now, Chris, pull up the Firefox. You're going to see a link that I have with Leon Black. let's see here. No, well, that's the judge drops the charges on those people. Just Staley. There you go.
There's
Lawsuit.
one. Yep.
Millionaire investor Leon Black raped a woman inside Jeffrey Epstein's home.
Yep. That's and he brutally rapes this woman.
Yeah.
2 women. So if you keep reading through that article,
What's wrong with these niggas, man?
Yo.
he raped a Russian girl and he raped an American girl. Brutally raped at Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan townhouse in 2002.
And he used to hang out there without him there. Was he the one? No, that was
all of them would do that. Like, I didn't give you this card, but a top senior executive at Microsoft.
Yes.
A good friend of Bill Gates as well. Mr. Mervold, who's on the map back there, used to go to Epstein's Florida properties when he wasn't even there.
You can share it on your screen if you have it, Ryan.
Well, it's just on the physical map behind.
Okay. Don't sweat it then. They won't be able to see that. Yeah, that's fine.
It's whatever. They can get the map if they like. But like he and he liked the really young ones, like 12. And so did Jess Staley. Jess Staley used to go on the yacht and refer to these girls as Disney princesses. Like they would talk about Snow White. Or Beauty and the Beast and Ariel and stuff like that, like just I guess based on hair color or the way they looked or whatever. They would talk about Disney princesses, but they were talking about particular women that Epstein had procured because Staley had a Disney princess fetish. So he would dress them up in the princess dresses.
I think we got
here's your little yellow gown and you're going to dress like Belle and I'm going to be the Beast and brutally rape you, right? Like this is the kind of crap this fucker would do.
There we go. There's Jess Staley right there, guys.
Aggressively raping Jeffrey Epstein victim with his permission.
And that just came out today. Look,
that came out today.
Him for years, but look, the information is coming out right now. Dawson's been looking at these people for damn near.
I just gave you this stuff yesterday, and then this comes out today. Bro, I was just talking about him on Sean Atwood a couple months ago.
Why hasn't somebody shot these niggas, man?
He's been on the map since 2019, and why hasn't somebody just shot him? Be careful about that. A little Batman vigilante or Frank Castle type justice, I guess. But these guys, well, some of them have been shot. Like Thomas H. Lee died allegedly by suicide from a gunshot wound couple months ago, and one of his underlings was a lawyer banker for Epstein, and he ran Quaker Oats.
Damn. Good. Yeah, can you do that more, bro?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. These guys, Epstein had some very powerful people alongside him. You got
pull up Glenn Dubin because he's after Leon Black and Wexner. Dubin's like Glenn Dubin. It's he's on one of the cards they gave you.
Mo,
you don't have to have his picture, but he marries Epstein's ex-girlfriend. They've got a couple daughters. He met with Bill Gates, right? But Glenn Dubin was allowed on Les Wexner's yacht. It was called the Unlimited or Limited or whatever he named his boat. And all the staff was shocked. They're like, how are you on Wexner's yacht? He doesn't let anybody on here, but he let Glenn Dubin on there. He was the first big name that Virginia Roberts had to service. And just to give credence to Virginia Roberts' testimony, so that in the red, that was 2019 information. This is not the updated map, but accused of sexual activities with minors, provided Epstein and Maxwell by them, and accused of rape by Virginia Roberts and a former butler. A former chef actually said as well, I'll just add this information, that they were at one of Epstein's properties and Dubin had there was a 15-year-old girl at the bar and Ava Dubin's coming down and Maxwell's with her and she can hear their voices. She's shaking like a leaf. She's really distraught. She'd just been with Glenn Dubin. He raped her, but I'll tell you the Roberts story. While Ava Dubin was pregnant, she's told to go give her a massage because she's pregnant. Like, go give her a massage and massage her back, whatever. She was like pretty pregnant, 7 or 8 months pregnant, whatever. So she's in the bedroom, gets a normal massage. Well, it's not normal, but compare relative.
Yeah.
And then right after she this is in a hotel, right after she massages his pregnant wife, he gets a massage in the living room on like it's this like bearskin rug or whatever, and rapes her, right? She's forced to have sex with him. Now, this is not a famous person as far as like Bill Gates. Like, he's rich. A lot of these people are super rich, but not famous, which is how a lot of billionaires are, right? He runs Highbridge. It's one of these hedge funds. Anyway, financial institution. This girl is a teenager. She doesn't know who the hell Glenn Dubin is, right? Unless she actually met him. She sure as shit wouldn't know that his wife was 8 months pregnant and stayed at this hotel at this time in this location in Florida. Like, she could not be making this up. Like, she knew when his wife was pregnant, knew where they were located, knew what hotel they were in, knew their names, like, because she had met him so many times. He raped her. And that's her accusations. And she's testified to this, right? But he's out walking scot-free, like la-ti-da. And by the way, Glenn Dubin.
I was about to ask you, one of them boys? Okay.
One of them boys.
Question for you as far as like, so Virginia Roberts, that's the same woman that was assaulted by Prince Andrew, correct?
Yeah.
Prince
Andrew had sex with her more than once. Glenn Dubin did.
Earlier, guys.
Is she married with a husband now in Australia?
Yeah, her name is Roberts now, and she's married to a regular man, like not a pedophile. Like, she's turned her life around. She's accused. I mean, she's gone after. She got a settlement from Prince Andrew, like 16 million pounds or whatever.
Yes, yes, he's trying to get that settlement retracted, which isn't going to happen because I mean, it is what it is.
No, it's photographed, man. Like he did it. Yeah, and Andrew's there with Nygaard too, and like Andrew's such a cretin, but because he's one of the royals, like they're afraid it will hurt the reputation of the entire royal family. I'm like, really? You want to really start digging in on them because he's not the only only rotten one, but they're like, they kind of protect him because it comes down on them too. And I'm like, that's worse. Protecting a pedophile hurts your reputation more than throwing him under the bus.
Yeah. So just this, so the reason why Epstein did this, right? Like he went through all this work of, seducing targets, getting them in, bringing hot girls to parties, trying to make it look like he has this power, he has this affluence. Ghislaine Maxwell putting him in rooms with powerful people, and then eventually, hey, come to my island, whatever. Next thing you know, there's teenagers there that are topless, all this other shit. Their scheme that they did, it was to put them in compromising positions because at some level, when you have enough money, it doesn't matter. It's about blackmailing them. And he's blackmailing them to get access to fund, right? And to fund certain universities that had access to technology so that he can go ahead and get this technology back to obviously the homeland, right?
Yeah, boys.
Now, I guess,
that or just having leverage in general for like if you have a senator or if you have a governor like he did in New Mexico, they changed the zoning laws for his personal property because he blackmailed the governor, right? Like so you could move and shake. So a lot of people in Congress and stuff, AIPAC can control them through bribes because they finance their campaigns. But a lot of these, this billionaire class, the only way to control these people is through blackmail.
Okay. Wow. Now,
but once you have the donor class, you control the universities and politicians and everything else because they do whatever the donors say. So instead of bribing the politician, which you can do sometimes, or blackmailing them, why not get their sponsors? Because they control scores of these people. So he would aim at these prominent donors because once you have them, you have all the people that they control with their money.
And I find it interesting that he, specifically donated to schools that were really big in technology, OSU, Harvard, MIT, so that he can go ahead and get access to this technology because obviously Israel, let's give it 1,000. I mean, let's talk about Israel's capability when it comes to warfare. They don't have the ability to fight on the ground like that. They have a very small military. At the end of the day, everyone has to serve in the military. They don't want people dying in actual warfare, so they have to invest heavily in technology with missiles, attacking through air, etc. So it would make sense.
The nice U.S. provided Air Force and very good cyber warfare.
Yes,
but the ground game, the weakness for the Israelis is the same weakness as the United States. They can't afford skin in the game. You get 100 casualties and they'll quit like they did in Lebanon in 2006, right? Like, because they have mandatory service, all the kvetching in the streets, oh, my boy, blah, blah, blah. and there's no reason to be doing it, and they know it. Like, as hardcore Zionist knows that they're the aggressor and the oppressor.
Yep.
They do not want their child getting killed by Hezbollah.
Yep.
Whereas the people in Lebanon, people in Palestine got nothing to lose. They're like, F you, you're on our land, you know.
They don't give a
Yeah.
fuck, you know,
No.
but they can't afford those casualties, which is why I talked about, we had a guy, right, that was former CIA come on, and he said it, that the Mossad is by far one of the most ruthless intelligence agencies in the world. And if you think about it,
Oh, yeah.
it makes sense. Why? Because they can't afford to go to war. So they have to have a lot of proxy wars. They got a false flag. I mean, hell, massages from Assad, right?
Massage, yeah.
Massages
Well,
from
yeah, I mean, they do run a lot of the donor class, and they get all their F-15s, F-16s, all that's from the United States, right? Their anti-air defense, their Iron Dome, which doesn't work, but that's also U.S. made. So, but the main reason that Israel's protected is if anybody, like if Syria ever did an airstrike back to Israel, when Israel airstrikes them, they know the United States would come hammer them.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like they always run and hide behind the U.S.'s skirt. That is, mom, they run and hide behind their ankles of the United States. If the United States ended its relationship with Israel, Israel's gone. They'd be forced to negotiate. They'd get out of the West Bank. They would do everything that the Arabs have asked them.
Ryan, I have a question, bro.
Language, but.
So, in terms of the Bible, right? It talks about Israel being the last, I want to say, stronghold as a country, so to speak, and God's people. Can they actually lose in anything? Because to me, they can't really lose anything. They're here to stay.
They're not God's people. These are Europeans. I call them trans-Semites. They move to Palestine and just say they're Jews. Like they got blue eyes and they're putting sunscreen on their skin. They're not Hebrew. These are Europeans.
Got him.
Yo.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey.
The original Exodus is not even about the Hebrew. The original Exodus. You want to get into this? That's about the Hyksos dynasty, and those were Africans. They had married into people from the Levant, so you would have like Canaanites and Nubians, Ethiopians and stuff. Those are the people that got exiled, not the Hebrews. They stole another people's history and claimed it as their own.
I see.
The real Jew are from Africa. That's not all black African. That's brown and black Africans.
Thank you. She was saying on the show last time, oh, he's Asian. Nah, nigga. Africa. Thank you.
Y'all want to know what's funny?
The way they do ethnic groups and the way they do continents are odd. So like Egypt is part of the Middle East. It's also part of Africa if you go by continent, right? So Syria is Asian, like it's in Asia Minor, but that not Asian like China Asian. They just mean they're definitely like Arabic, So the way you go by linguistics, the way you go by geography, and the way you go by history and politics are categorized differently.
Okay. So Ryan, because I wanted to talk about this real quick with the Clintons and Bill Gates, right? Because we have to, if we're going to talk Epstein, we got to talk about these two factions here. So what was Epstein's role with the Clintons, and then we can go on over to Bill Gates, because I know people's going to go crazy.
This will dovetail to our 9/11 interview later too, because
nice.
Clinton, everyone knows about Lewinsky. That's just the one he got caught with. Clinton was all over the place.
Yeah.
he came everywhere. And so did Hillary. Hillary got caught with a woman. And my mom's cousin was her uniformed Secret Service bodyguard and witnessed that himself. And I also talked to Gary Burns, who is another uniform SS member, Secret Service, not the other SS, who witnessed the same thing and knew each other. And I did not know that. I did not even know that he was in the Secret Service till after his brother died. And then I also saw when President Ford died, he was one of the pallbearers. So I'm like, how did you pull that off? I thought you did this. And then my family told me what he did. And anyway, I interviewed Gary Burns. He wrote Compromise. You should have him on the show. It's a great book about the Clintons. He was also there a little bit for the tail end of Bush Sr. But Hillary is a closet bisexual, and she was seeing girls. Epstein was providing both the Clintons with little girls. Bill Clinton, not so into the little kids, though. He did like young women, but not like 15. He was in the 20, 21, but it's still whatever. All right. And he had permission, basically. But Hillary did not like Monica, and that wasn't supposed to be going on, so whatever. But he was with a lot of girls, and in my opinion, I think one of the things Epstein had done was the blackmail on Clinton was to force him to choose James Woolsey to be the CIA director.
Oh, here we
So
go.
that gave them boys control over the CIA.
Mm.
Because Clinton and James Woolsey fucking hated each other. He wouldn't even take briefings from him. He'd have him go through an intermediary in writing. So he wouldn't even meet with the head of the CIA. He's like, because he did not want him there. He's a neocon. He's against all of his, politics. But he picked him because Epstein twisted his arm. And James Woolsey later on, when he's no longer in the CIA, but he would be the liaison that gave us the bullshit about this story where Muhammad Atta met in Prague with senior Iraqi officials and got anthrax, right?
Tune in on Friday for that one, guys.
And do you know who he sourced? Guess who James Woolsey gave as his sources? Israeli intelligence. The Israeli intelligence said they witnessed this meeting. No, they didn't, because there was no meeting, and Iraq didn't have mobile weapons labs or any other kind of WMD. They didn't have anthrax, and neither did Al-Qaeda. But somebody wrote "Death to America, Death to Israel" on the notes and happened to mail them from the hijacker locations like they already knew where they were because they were living next door to them. Somebody did that. We'll be talking about that in a couple of days, but that was a Woolsey thing on Clinton. But Clinton, I think they had gotten Clinton before he was president. Clinton had been compromised when he was governor of Arkansas.
Okay,
Damn.
so
Because he had a role in Iran-Contra too. Like they were training pilots at Amina. I'm sure you know that story.
so
Sean Atwood's written a pretty good book on that. Lots of people have.
But let me ask you this then, Ryan. So was Clinton compromised with just fucking around with a bunch of chicks, or was it like underage chicks? I'm talking about Bill, not Hillary in this case.
I haven't seen evidence of underage, but he's
Okay.
definitely with lots of girls.
Okay, so the thing that would have embarrassed him is just like the
But he would bite them. He had a thing about biting lips and whatever. He has he's a biter.
woman.
So it's kind of abusive. He with a lot of these girls, but he bite their mouths and bite their buttocks and stuff.
Okay, so was it Hillary that was messing
Putting
around?
cigars in their vagina.
like
You want to see how weird Clinton is, or? Oh, go ahead. I'll skip all that. But
Yeah, we can skip that. Well,
Yeah.
So okay, so with Bill, he was compromised because he just like had.
Get fresh.
What about Hillary? Was Hillary involved with like the younger?
Oh,
women?
Hillary's into the 6.9.
Oh,
You know what that is?
okay, I see.
This
What,
nigga, bro.
That's the 69 with a period in the middle.
no.
Hillary is a stank fest. So what she'd do, she'd wear two pairs of pantyhose. So get that thing nice, ripe, and fishy, and then force the girl to eat her rug.
Oh wow.
And she also had a thing for young Turkish women, which makes me wonder about Huma Abedin and what that relationship is.
Okay.
That's
So-
it. Sibel Edmonds has talked about some of these critters, certain senators that were banging lesbians.
Byron
Okay.
Anyway,
So okay, so I guess I see what Trump meant when he said crooked Hillary, lock her up.
Yeah, literally.
But it wasn't. So it seems like they just
dude, Trump does a lot of dog whistles. He did one on Epstein. He likes them kind of young. Like he was in the club and got out of the club. And I think he just heard a lot of the rumors, right? But
he's
Palm
Beach, bro, Palm Beach. Everybody
when
knows.
you see someone in Hollywood, right, and they're making jokes about it, like they did Harvey Weinstein, they would make jokes about him and women for a long time.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, it's just a joke. Yeah, he kind of was a pervert or whatever. No, he was raping girls, right? He did that whole casting couch business. So you have to think today, who are the people, let's say in Hollywood, sports, whatever, that everyone's joking about being with little kids, other Hollywood actors and stuff that would know, right? You should pay attention to that because often where
It's
there's
true.
smoke, there's fire.
Yeah. Okay. So the Clintons had strange sex fetishes.
Quentin Tarantino, excuse me.
Oh shit.
What'd I say?
So Clintons had
He's got a foot fetish too.
fetishes. It wasn't necessarily underage, but just strange fetishes that would be embarrassing. Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about Bill Gates? Tell us about Bill Gates and his connection with
Well, it
Epstein.
was adultery, and in the 90s, that still mattered.
Okay.
So
Mainly
less
adultery?
so today.
Not
Yeah, I
underage?
mean, he was the governor in Arkansas, a pretty conservative southern state. So
No,
if
I
you're
meant-
cheating
I
on your
meant
wife,
Bill Gates.
Bill
Bill
Gates.
oh, Bill Gates. Well, he was committing adultery. Bill Gates used to he'd do the trick where he would drive. He had a golden, I don't know if it was a Cadillac or whatever the hell. He had a gold car for some reason. He would park that at Microsoft, and then he had another car that he would leave in. So if his wife went by, she'd see his car in the parking lot, but he wasn't there. So he'd leave and lunch in a different car and go see his prostitutes.
Yeah. So
And get this.
Yeah.
This is just fun to fuck this guy. At the at his foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation,
Yeah.
guys that work for him on the property of the foundation got busted with I don't know how many terabytes of fucking child porn.
Oh,
right?
what?
That's yeah. And it's like, well, Microsoft had the ability to, get whatever they wanted from whomever they wanted on their computers. And, especially early days, nobody had defense for that. So much child porn. And then you have Mervold and other senior executives of Microsoft going into Epstein properties when he wasn't there. Email exchanges between Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein. He met him in New York. And he claims, it was for philanthropy. Like, what? You need Epstein's money? You're Bill Gates.
Yeah.
No, you
Richest
don't.
man in the world at the time.
Yeah.
So here's
man
my
in the world, meeting with some guy that was a flunked math teacher that manages money for Les Wexner, whatever, dude. Like why do you meet him in person in the night?
Yeah.
Why not just have him come to you? Why are you going to him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
so did Epstein just hook him up with hookers? Like what did Bill Gates get specifically then? Was it like just like was it
women? Yeah.
Okay.
Little girls.
Oh, so he dabbled in the underage then.
Dude, this is sick,
Oh
bro.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm about to throw
Well,
up.
I mean,
Well, Bill
what we
Gates-
have is him saying very attractive woman,
If they ask
and,
about Epstein, you don't say
and
shit.
their daughter, which was Celine Dubin, she was 16. So at least he attempted to get him with a 16-year-old because he was there with a former Swedish model and her daughter, and he stays late into the night.
Yeah.
But from other Microsoft employees, like everyone around him's a pedophile. And then Bill Gates is like, this is the company he keeps, and then he's meeting with Jeffrey Epstein. So it's pretty good circumstantial evidence that he's kitty fiddling.
Okay. All right. Damn.
All right, this is enough for me, bro. This is sick, bro. No cap. This is sick.
Well,
dude.
hey, it's Epstein, man. You should have known this, nigga.
But hearing
Well, Bill Gates, well, I don't want to get into the whole vaccine stuff in Africa, but like that's another way of getting of youngins,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, I knew something was up with Bill Gates because anytime he's asked about Epstein, dude, he like completely
He shuts
fucking
down.
dodges that shit.
Dude,
Like
he starts like rocking and doing
yeah, he
this
gets
and stuff.
extremely uncomfortable. Like he just dodges it completely. Oh, I met him one time, but you see all these
No, he
pictures.
did. He met him more than one time. He's like, hey, what'd you learn? Did you learn anything, about being more careful about who you meet with, like Jeffrey Epstein? And he just starts laughing. Like, well, he's dead. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I guess you're off the hook now, huh?
All right, we can.
Glenn Maxwell could still throw all these people under the bus if she wants.
Why? Yeah, why hasn't she, dude? So she's doing everything in her power. Just an update on Ghislaine Maxwell, because you guys know I covered her criminal case with the feds. She's trying everything in her power to clear Prince Andrew's name right now, and she's trying to say that Epstein was kind of the mastermind, but we know she's the one that put Epstein in the room with these fucking rich people. So I mean, I don't know what her game plan is. I think she's going to try to exhaust some appeals and everything else like that. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know why she hasn't come out and just like.
Well, the Prince and the Rothschilds is who she's hoping that will eventually get her out of this, or at least make her jail more comfortable. She is bisexual, so she's just down there
Munching.
licking twat or what have you. Yeah, she's munching the rugs. Jail's not so bad, but like, yeah, it's funny. Her birthday's on Christmas, so she spends every Christmas and birthday in prison. But she hated being in New York. She got moved, but like she hated up there. She didn't have roommates, so she couldn't fool around. And she would do childish shit. Like she took her folders and stuff to the media room, and which is on like a dolly, and like blocked the door so she could stay in there longer. Yeah, that's not going to help you, woman. But this is a woman that's always been able to do and get whatever she wanted. Right? A complete spoiled brat. And so she acts like that in prison, but she may also be like, well, I'm not getting out of here anyway. So she does petty stuff to try and exercise control.
Get rid of her. Why don't they get rid of her? Like, what did
I think because getting rid of Epstein was so prominent and got so much attention that if they did it again, it's a little bit too much.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think that they definitely would have gotten rid of both of them. I thought what they do is just have her die of a 2-day coronavirus, right? Oh, and she died of the disease or whatever. Yeah, she died of that. But, there's still threats you can make of people in jail. Like, what kind of food do you want to eat? Do you want to eat real food, or do you want fish heads? Keep your mouth shut. But, what she's doing is she's not telling on them, but she's no longer defending them. Besides Prince Andrew, what she said is they can defend themselves. Well, the list is gonna come out. It's gonna come out this year, and there's 167 names. And Glenn is not going to protect these people. So everyone's like, she got convicted of child trafficking to no one, right? Because all the John Does, they won't talk about Mort Zuckerberg, or they're not going to talk about
Wait, Mark Zuckerberg too?
No, Mort.
Oh, okay.
Mort Zuckerman. He's another
the boys.
I wish I had. Oh yeah, they're all them boys.
Yeah,
I had the list. Which I've read on Rumble before, but you guys, I'll explain the situation. I'm in Korea. I was living in Japan for the last 16 years. I've mailed. That's why I have all these boxes behind me. I've mailed my stuff to myself, but my client list hasn't arrived. I'm getting a little nervous. Like I can create it again, but I do notebooks. I handwrite everything. So it's
same.
I grew up in the paper age, so I just do these kind of like pages of stuff like this way. That's how I roll.
That's the best way to do it, man. When you write it down, it helps you memorize it better.
Right, we got
for me.
I think so.
Oh, chats. Okay. W Rumble, L Cooktube, we lit, boys. Absolutely, man. We got P1 Dizzy goes. Shout out to all of the boys. Also, get an Epst3in crime map on Ryan's ANC website. Yes, guys, go get it. I'll link it below. Actually, no, it's on the Shopify. It's down below. Click the links, guys.
It's on Shopify. There's that map. There's a new mech map too, and there's a Biden thing. There's other stuff, but the main thing's on there, and that's the 2021 map. On the screen, we've been doing the 2019 because I don't know, grabbed the wrong thing, but not a tech person.
BTR goes, are them boys from the Wiz Khalifa song? Nah, I'm playing now, bro. Them boys is from a different land. X-Commie goes, who them boys? Okay, well, you must be new here. And then Accelerated Gray goes, understand a campaign is being waged against you and your family right now and has been for a while. Wait, what? Okay, sure. We'll come get it. Ask Ryan about the Mothers of Darkness Castle in Belgium. That's what they're really about. Vampire. Okay. I don't know if we have time for that. RNG Miss goes, Numek. Yes, guys, the Numek guys, go watch that documentary. It's actually really fucking good. I've recommended it to countless of my friends.
He donated 109. Do you notice that?
What was that?
On purpose.
Yeah, like it's like if guys, you know what 109 is.
I actually have an idea, but
what's 109?
I might be wrong.
I mean, if I got kicked out of 109 bars, it's clearly not my fault. It's the bartender's fault.
Oh, and them boys been kicked out of 109 countries.
All right, let's move on.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I see what you did there, sir. Great guest, great show. Let's keep the free speech coming. Rumble is the wave. Absolutely.
Nazul.
HKW. Appreciate that, my friend. Lachanel Midi Epst3in original drop shipper. Okay. JD Trace goes, I'm a therapist and people like Epst3in were molested as children. Sometimes people recover from childhood trauma, but most of the time they become truly evil. Yeah, it happens, man. Camino Kill goes, W-Stream, Epst3in is evil. Facts. The Crazy Dolphin goes, they eat children. It's the fountain of youth, literally. Okay. And then Ribs goes, hey, Rye, could you go over how Epst3in puts James Woosley in power? We talked about that.
I did get that already.
He sent that earlier. Get yourself an Epst3in crime map. Yes, guys, go.
She did 110. She did $1 more than the 109. We got a bidding war here.
But just so you guys know, so Ryan, we got the 9/11 show coming up on Friday, which I'm really excited about. That one, guys, we got FBI reports, we got declassified documents from the JIS, we got I don't know if do we have CIA?
Well, under redacted portions from the reports they released that they didn't release all of, and we've got plenty of things. We've got the police reports, we've got the Senate investigation, we've got the commission report, we've got the FOIAs that I did on from the FBI and so on. So we go over all of that stuff.
Guys, we kind of just put it together for y'all, introduce you to Ryan, show you guys.
This whole thing was ad lib, I did off the top of my head.
Yep.
I don't even have all my stuff here. Like, I don't even have my client list with me.
So 9/11 is going to be a lot more refined, a lot more detail. So I hope you guys are ready. That one's going to be easily a 3-hour broadcast. I showed the team already the outline. So we're going to go over everything with 9/11, guys. We're on Rumble, so I'll just tell y'all. We're going to go over the Saudi Arabian connection. We're going to go over the Israeli connection. We're going to go over the deep state connections. We're going to go over, the conspiracy theories that are not true. We're going to go over, everything, whether it's controlled demolition. We're going to go over the art students. We're going to go over everything. No stone's going to be left unturned when it comes to 9/11. I'm trying to make this the how do I say this?
Definitive.
The definitive. Thank you. The definitive 9/11 podcast, because we're going to go over
The
everything.
Magnus Opus of 9/11.
Yeah,
You know, Ligam Yochai, who was one of the leaders of the Israeli art students, is right out of Miami.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh wow.
Of course.
I'm going to go over the art student leadership and what the whole thing
As long as we
was,
got that one
because
fucked
the
up.
Rebecca
And-
Roth stuff's absolute bullshit.
And
So,
no pun intended, we're gonna blow it up.
This guy.
oh damn, too soon.
Well, I guess you could say stupid shit like
Wow,
that.
fresh. Whoa.
He's hitting the play side of
He's like, we're gonna bring it on down. Oh shit.
This shit is crazy. This shit is crazy. But no, guys, the 9/11 episode is gonna be fucking lit. Like, mark your calendars. I'm not playing around. We're gonna, because here's the thing. Everyone that
It's
talks
fire.
about 9/11 stole their shit a lot of the times from this fucking dude right here, man. I'm
Damn.
telling y'all. Like, I've watched a bunch of 9/11 stuff. Everyone is too scared to talk about Israel's involvement. They're too scared to talk about dancing Israelis. They're too scared to talk about Saudi Arabia and how one of George Bush's homeboys was involved in moving fucking money around to some of the fucking hijackers. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. And that was recently declassified. Dawson talked about this shit years ago, and they recently declassified it. The 28 pages.
That 28 consecutive pages of redaction, I had all that information in the Empire Unmasked years before.
Dude.
I talked to a DOD leaker. I talked to the police. I even talked to the restaurants and stuff around urban moving systems, because I figured they would eat there from time to time, see what they would know. I posed as other people and talked to their wives on LinkedIn. I did a lot of underhanded shit to
You got to tell
get
them
all the information you would need.
I'm not going to tell the DJ story right now, but we will we'll tell it on Friday. All I'm going to say, September 10th, some crazy shit went down. And you guys will see it on Friday. Make sure, I'm telling y'all, this is going to be the definitive
And
one.
September 7th, some crazy shit went down. I didn't tell you about that.
We're going to talk about thermite. We're going to talk about the fucking missile hitting the Pentagon. We're going to talk about everything when it comes to 9/11 on Friday,
All
guys.
that dumb stuff.
Everything. You know, the holograms, all the crazy shit. We're going to debunk all the bullshit, give you all the real facts of what happened based on official reporting as well as money. We got the real shit. Ryan, where can the people find you?
So I run anti-neocons, ancreport.com, or, you know, I've got the links to my Substack, Rumble, and Twitter. The only social media I'm allowed on is Twitter, and that's only been for a couple
You can
months.
see why. We can
Well,
see
yeah,
why.
I mean, why do I get banned? I don't know. I just tell the truth about Epstein, 9/11, and everything in between. But, you know, there's other rings out right now. Like, there's other pedophile rings that are active. And maybe we can do a show on some of those later. But
Yeah.
I
yeah,
think the
it's
biggest bombshell is that they arrested Andrew Tate the same day that there was a lawsuit filed against the people that were paying off
Well,
the victims.
ask how many people know about the Virgin Islands lawsuit on JP Morgan Chase compared to how many people know the Tates got arrested.
Yeah.
And it was for the same alleged crimes, right? Like Andrew Tate, they didn't even charge him. They were like, oh yeah, he just accused. And it just so happened to be the same
Well,
shit.
the accusations match what the bank actually did.
Yep. So if you Google
help
human
the bet.
trafficking, what's going to come up? Andrew, not fucking Jeffrey Epstein,
On
the real
purpose.
trafficker.
On purpose.
On purpose, dude.
Yeah.
Or you
That-
just look at what's trending in the news, and it's Andrew Tate instead of the Virgin Island lawsuit about Jeffrey Epstein.
Speaking of which, guys, do me a quick favor real fast. Andrew just dropped a video shitting on Vice on his
that was
channel.
hilarious, by the way.
Okay, because a lot of people on
Bring me chocolate, bitch.
Yeah. A lot of people on YouTube went ahead and ripped the video. I want y'all to go watch the original shit on Take Confidential on Rumble, not on fucking YouTube, okay? So
Yeah.
go ahead
Yeah.
and go support our boy Andrew. Go watch that video, like that video, subscribe to that channel. Take Confidential on YouTube. I'll drop the link in here for y'all as well, man, because a lot of people ripped it on YouTube, which is not fucking cool. Go watch him on
Yeah.
Rumble, support him on Rumble. And then also, you guys need to go ahead and support Ryan. Subscribe to his channel. A lot of these people that you guys see talking about information, I'm not going to mention any names, but they steal his information. His content has been plagiarized all over the fucking internet, man. It's
Damn.
wild. So he's the originator.
Yeah, well, they got away with it because I wasn't allowed to say, I wasn't on Twitter or anything, so I couldn't call them out on it. But a lot of my followers did.
Yep.
It's damn obvious what they were doing. People have made careers stealing my shit.
And just so you
Damn.
And
guys
it's
know,
whenever I go on Sean Atwood and explain something, here comes Whitney Webb a month later saying the same thing and then acting like she came up with it all on her own. Fuck her.
so, and guys, just so you know, we're going to cover 9/11 on Friday, but that's not the end. We're going to cover John F. Kennedy, the assassination, because that one's going to be a big one. We're going to cover the Biden crime family. We're going to cover Ukraine. We're going to cover a bunch of shit for you guys, man. So
We should do the RFK assassination
Yes.
as well, since
We're gonna
his
do
son
Robert
is running for
Kennedy as well.
president. Yep.
You want us canceled for real?
Actually, after 9/11, we're safe. The rest of the stuff isn't as bad.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't worry.
Oh, JFK is you.
Oh yeah. JFK is a lot of them boys, man. Actually, it's fine.
All right, man.
It would do it on Rumble. But anyway, guys, check out Ryan Dawson. Subscribe to his channel. Follow him on Rumble, man. Support him. And we're gonna have him back on Friday to cover 9/11. So guys, be fucking ready, man. Go watch the Empire Unmasked if you guys haven't already. It's one of his documentaries on 9/11. It's 5 hours, but it's probably the most in-depth, best documentary on 9/11. We're gonna cover a lot of it and add some things that aren't in the documentary for y'all on Friday.
Yep.
So we'll catch you guys at probably 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go check him out on Rumble. We'll catch you guys. Peace.
Peace.
I ran so far away.